Ethan Cole lived on the edge of human space. He had left Earth a long time ago. After years of serving in the Terran fleet, the wars had changed him, and he wanted nothing more than a quiet life. He had settled on a small mining colony on a desert planet. The planet was hot and dry. Sandstorms came often, and the air smelled faintly of metal from the mining equipment. The colony was small. Most people were miners or traders. They had lived there for generations, far from the battles that had once shaken the galaxy. Ethan worked as a scavenger. He would search the desert for old technology and parts. Some of the parts were dangerous, but he knew how to handle them. He liked the work because it kept him busy and alone. He liked silence. Every morning he woke up early, drank a cup of recycled water, and walked into the desert with his small pack. One day, while wandering farther than usual, he found something unusual. Half buried in the sand was the wreck of an old transport ship. Its metal was rusty, and it looked like it had been there for decades. Ethan's heart beat faster. He had always dreamed of finding something old and valuable. He stepped carefully on the sand and approached the ship. The air inside the wreck smelled of dust and oil. Sunlight came through the broken hull, making bright stripes on the floor. Ethan walked slowly, looking for anything useful. There were old crates and containers, broken tools, and papers. Most of it was trash, but then he saw something small sticking out from under a broken panel. He pulled it out and saw a piece of fabric. It was faded and torn, but he recognized it immediately. It was part of an old uniform from the Terran Vanguard, the unit he had served in long ago. The symbol on it was a simple eagle holding a star. He smiled. He had not seen that symbol in decades. He held it carefully and brushed the sand away. Ethan thought about the old days. He remembered his friends, the battles, and the victories. He remembered the fear and the loss. He had survived, but most of his friends had not. He felt a pang of sadness. He did not want to think about it too much, but the symbol brought it all back. He decided to sew it onto his shirt. It was a small act, but it made him feel connected to something greater than himself. The sun was setting when he finished sewing the patch. The desert turned red and orange. Ethan looked at the horizon and saw the mountains in the distance. The wind blew gently, and for the first time in years, he felt calm. He packed his tools and started walking back to the colony. He did not know that the simple act of wearing the symbol would change his life forever. That night, Ethan sat outside his small hut. The stars were bright in the sky. The colony was quiet. Most people were asleep, tired from the day's work. Ethan stared at the stars and thought about the universe. He thought about humans and aliens, about war and peace. He wondered if humans had really made a difference in the galaxy. Suddenly, the ground shook. It was a low vibration at first, like a far-off rumble. Ethan froze. He looked up at the sky. A bright light was moving fast across the horizon. It was bigger than any ship he had seen. He ran toward the center of the colony. People were coming out of their homes, looking at the light in fear. The ship descended slowly. It was huge, much bigger than the transport ships humans used for colonies. Its surface was smooth and metallic, reflecting the stars. Ethan's heart beat faster. He had seen alien ships before in history books, but never in real life. He watched as smaller ships separated from the main one. They hovered above the colony, shining bright lights. People screamed and ran. Ethan stayed calm. He had been through battles before, and he knew panic would not help. He grabbed his rifle from the hut, though he hoped he would not have to use it. He moved toward the landing zone. The ships did not fire. They hovered silently, almost as if they were studying the colony. A door opened on the largest ship. A figure appeared. Ethan could not believe his eyes. She was tall and elegant, with silver-colored skin that shimmered in the starlight. Her eyes were bright green and seemed to see everything. She wore a crown-like structure on her head, made of bone or something similar. She walked slowly toward the colony. The colonists froze. Ethan stepped forward, holding his rifle but not aiming it. The alien moved closer, stopping when she was near Ethan. She looked at him carefully. Her gaze fell on the symbol on his shirt, the eagle holding a star. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. He did not know what to expect. The alien queen knelt down. Her gesture was formal, and Ethan realized it was a salute. He had never seen a salute like it, but he instinctively understood it. The queen raised her hand, and the other ships followed her example. The soldiers aboard the ships knelt as well. Ethan's mouth opened, but he could not speak. The queen whispered something in a language he did not understand, but the tone was respectful. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. This was not an attack, it was recognition. Somehow, the symbol on his shirt had caused a reaction he could never have imagined. The queen motioned for him to come aboard her ship. Ethan hesitated. The colonists were watching, some afraid, some curious. Ethan took a deep breath and followed her. The ramp lowered, and he stepped onto the alien vessel. Inside, the ship was unlike anything he had seen. The walls were smooth and glowing with soft light. Strange devices hummed quietly. He could see the stars outside through large transparent panels. The queen led him to a room that looked like a council chamber. Holographic images floated in the air, showing stars, planets, and strange symbols. The queen spoke again, this time in broken English. "You're the one," she said. Ethan did not understand. She gestured to the symbol on his shirt. "The eagle, the star, it is known." Ethan shook his head. I don't understand. I am just a miner. I found this symbol." The queen looked at him with bright eyes. "You bear the mark of the Death Worlders. You carry what once conquered the stars." Ethan felt a chill. Death Worlders. He had never heard the word used for humans in his lifetime. He shook his head, unsure if he was dreaming. I don't know what you mean. I am just me." The queen studied him silently. Then she nodded slightly, almost as if she had confirmed something important. "You are alive. The legend, it is real." Ethan could hardly believe it. The legend, humans were extinct in her eyes. He had survived wars, but to be part of a legend among aliens was something he never expected. He thought of his old friends, the Terran Vanguard, and realized that, somehow, their deeds had reached far beyond what he had known. The queen waved her hand. The ship's walls showed images of battles, planets, and ships. Humans had fought the Varl Dominion, a powerful alien empire, centuries ago. They had won and disappeared. To the Varl, humans were both feared and admired. And now, seeing Ethan, they believed a piece of that power had returned. Ethan sat down slowly. He was not a hero. He was just a man who had wanted peace. But the symbol on his shirt had told another story. The queen's salute had changed everything. He felt both fear and awe. The universe he knew, the quiet life he wanted, was gone. For the first time in decades, Ethan realized that humans had not been forgotten. Their legend still lived, not on Earth, but in the stars, and he, a simple miner, was now part of that legend. He looked at the alien queen, who waited patiently. He did not know what would happen next, but he knew one thing: his life would never be the same again. The queen extended her hand, not as an enemy, but as an ally. Ethan took it, feeling the weight of history and destiny. The stars outside the ship seemed brighter. Somewhere far away, fleets of alien ships began to stir. Sensing that a human had returned, Ethan Cole, the man who had only wanted peace, was about to wake a galaxy that had long forgotten the power of humanity. And all it took was a simple symbol on a worn shirt, a symbol of an eagle holding a star. Ethan Cole followed the alien queen up the smooth ramp of her ship. The air smelled faintly of metal and something sweet he could not name. The ship was quiet, but he could feel its power. Strange lights pulsed softly along the walls, and the floors were cool beneath his boots. The queen moved with a slow grace, her eyes never leaving him. Ethan felt both nervous and amazed. He had never seen technology like this, not even in old Terran archives. The chamber they entered was large and round. Holograms floated in the air, showing planets, star systems, and moving fleets of ships. Ethan's eyes widened. He had never imagined something so vast. The queen motioned for him to sit in a chair that seemed to float above the floor. He sat slowly, unsure if he should touch anything. The queen spoke again in broken English. "You are alive. You are the mark. You carry the symbol that cannot be forgotten. Ethan shook his head. I am just a miner. I don't know what you mean. I don't know anything about symbols or marks. The Queen's green eyes seemed to pierce him. You wear the eagle, the star. The Varl know it. They fear it. They honor it. Long ago, humans fought them across many worlds. You carry their legend. Ethan's mind spun. Humans, legend. He thought of his quiet life on the desert planet. He had wanted nothing more than to stay away from war. And yet here he was, in the presence of a being who treated him like a hero. He felt confused. I don't even remember the war. I was too young. Or maybe it happened before I was born. The Queen nodded. Time is strange. History is strange. But the Varl remember, and now, you are here. Ethan studied her carefully. She was not threatening. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. But there was power in her presence that made him uneasy. He wondered why she had come to him, why she had chosen to salute him. The other humans in hiding had been forgotten. Only he remained, wearing the symbol that had survived centuries. The Queen led him to a larger room. Here, walls were covered with maps of stars and planets. Strange machines hummed softly, displaying streams of light that moved like living things. Ethan walked slowly, touching nothing, trying to understand it all. He saw images of human ships in combat with alien vessels, destroying enemy fleets with precision. Some ships looked like old Terran designs, others like advanced vessels he had never seen. The Queen pointed to one image. This is the Battle of Saren. Your people fought with courage. Your symbol flew across many systems. The Var remember, Ethan studied the image. He could see tiny figures moving on ships, firing weapons, commanding fleets. He did not recognize anyone, but the pride he felt was unexpected. Somehow, these humans had become something greater than ordinary people. They had become a force that shaped the galaxy. And now, centuries later, that force had returned in him. Why me? Ethan asked quietly. Why now? I am just one man. The Queen's gaze softened. Because you survived. Because the eagle returned. Because the Varl must know that the Death Worlders live. You are the spark. Ethan felt fear rising in his chest. He had never wanted to be a spark. He had wanted quiet. He had wanted to be alone. But the Queen's words made him realize that something larger was happening. The galaxy remembered humans, even if he did not. And now, his life would be part of that story. The Queen spoke again. You must see the records. You must understand. She waved her hand, and a large hologram appeared. It showed the human homeworld, Earth, as it had been centuries ago. Cities floated in clouds of light, fleets moved in orbit, and soldiers trained in formations he recognized from old manuals. You see? She said, humans were never weak. You survived wars, you conquered fears, you shaped destiny. And then Pew vanished. The Varl believed you extinct. But now, you return. Ethan studied the hologram. He could not believe it. Humans had been gone. He had always thought the galaxy was bigger than what he saw on old maps. But he had not imagined this. He felt both pride and sadness. Pride for what humans had done. Sadness for what had been lost. The Queen led him to another chamber, smaller and quieter. She motioned for him to sit. You must rest. Soon, you will travel. You will see the worlds humans once held. You will meet those who hide. You will awaken the spark. Ethan nodded, though he felt tired. His mind was racing with questions, but he knew there was no easy answer. He had a choice. He could refuse and stay on the desert planet, living a quiet life. Or he could go with the Queen and face the unknown. He looked at the symbol on his shirt, the eagle and star. It was small, simple, but it carried power he did not understand. Somehow, this small patch of fabric had changed everything. He took a deep breath and stood. I will go, he said quietly. The Queen's eyes brightened. Good, you are ready. For the next few hours, the Queen showed him the ship. Ethan learned that it moved faster than anything humans had ever built. It could travel between stars in a matter of days. The crew was made of aliens, soldiers, and scholars, all loyal to the Queen. They treated him with respect, but also kept a careful watch. Ethan knew he would have to prove himself, even if he did not understand how. When night came, the Queen brought him to a room with a view of the stars. Ethan had never seen space like this. The stars stretched endlessly in every direction. He could see planets spinning slowly, their colors bright and vivid. He felt small, but also part of something larger. "You will sleep here," the Queen said. "Tomorrow, we begin the journey. The Varl know you live. Others will seek you. We must move quickly." Ethan lay down on a soft bed. He could hear the ship's hum, steady and calm. He thought about his life on the desert planet, the sand, the quiet. And he thought about the galaxy, vast and full of danger. Somehow, he knew that he had chosen the right path. The eagle and star on his shirt were not just symbols, they were a promise. The next morning, the ship moved silently through space. Ethan stood on the observation deck, watching stars streak past. The Queen appeared beside him. "The Varl fleets will react," she said. "They will send scouts. You must be ready." Ethan nodded. "I will do what I can. But I do not know if I am strong enough." The Queen smiled. "Strength is not just in weapons. Strength is in courage. You have that. You have survived centuries of history without knowing it. That is why the spark lives." As they traveled, Ethan saw other human outposts, abandoned and quiet. The Queen showed him records of humans hiding in distant systems, surviving in secret. Some were still alive. Some had children who did not know the old stories. Ethan felt a mix of hope and responsibility. He realized that he had a duty he had never asked for to awaken humanity and remind the galaxy of their strength. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement. Smaller alien ships approached, fast and aggressive. The Queen turned to Ethan. "They test us. They seek the legend. Are you ready?" Ethan felt fear, but also determination. He looked at the symbol on his shirt and tightened his fists. "I am ready," he said. The Queen nodded. "Good. Then the journey begins." The alien ships closed in. Lights flashed and engines roared. Ethan watched as the Queen gave orders. Her crew moved with precision, responding instantly. The smaller ships fired, but the Queen's vessel moved faster, evading attacks. Ethan realized that humans had taught the Varl many things, but the Varl also had great skill. The fight was dangerous, but the Queen's tactics were brilliant. Ethan felt a thrill he had not felt in years. He was no longer a miner on a quiet planet. He was part of a story larger than himself. And as the stars flew past, he understood that the symbol on his shirt, the eagle holding the star, was more than just fabric. It was history, power, and hope. The battle ended quickly. The alien scouts retreated, leaving the Queen's ship unharmed. She turned to Ethan. "They saw you. They know the spark lives. Soon, others will come." Ethan nodded. He felt a weight on his shoulders, but also a strange confidence. He was part of something bigger, something that could change the galaxy. And he knew that wherever the journey led, he would not face it alone. The Queen, the crew, and the memory of humans long gone would guide him. Ethan looked at the stars again. He thought about Earth, the desert planet, and the symbol on his shirt. Everything had changed, but he was ready. The journey to awaken humanity had begun. The Queen's ship moved through space quietly, but Ethan could feel the power in its engines. Stars streaked past the windows like lines of silver light. He still could not believe how quickly his life had changed. One moment he was a miner, on a quiet desert planet, and the next, he was on a powerful alien ship traveling across the galaxy with a queen who bowed to him. The Queen, Alira, seemed calm, but Ethan could see that she was cautious. She often looked at the ship's sensors, studying every detail. Ethan wanted to ask her questions, but he knew she would not answer all at once. Instead, she waited for the right moment. He watched her as she moved through the halls, speaking softly to the crew in a language he did not understand. They obeyed her instantly. He realized that she commanded loyalty and respect from everyone on board. After a while, she motioned for him to follow her to a private chamber. The room was quiet, with soft lights and a clear view of a distant star system. Ethan sat on a chair, feeling nervous. The Queen stood beside him, her bright green eyes fixed on him. "You must know about your people," she said. "Humans were called the Death Worlders. Long ago, You fought the Varl Dominion and other empires. You changed the balance of the galaxy. The symbol you wear is not just a mark. It is a memory. It is a warning and a promise. Ethan shook his head. I don't remember any of it. I was not alive back then. I do not even know if I would have fought like that. The Queen's gaze softened. You carry their blood. You carry their courage. That is enough. Seeing you, wearing the symbol, awakens hope. Others will follow. You will inspire those who remain. Ethan's heart beat faster. He had never thought of himself as a hero. He had only wanted a quiet life. Now, the weight of centuries rested on his shoulders. He felt fear, but also a strange determination. He realized that even if he did not remember the wars, he could still honor the people who had fought before him. The Queen waved her hand, and a hologram appeared. It showed maps of star systems, planets, and fleets. Ethan could see many human colonies scattered across space. Some were abandoned, some hidden. The Varl had thought humans extinct, but records remained in secret locations. These are your people, the Queen said. Some survived. Some live in hiding. Others have children who do not know the truth. You must find them. You must awaken hope. Ethan studied the holograms carefully. He saw planets with small cities, some built into mountains or beneath the surface. Humans had learned to hide and survive. He felt a mix of hope and sadness. So many people had suffered, but some had survived, and now it was his job to find them. The Queen placed a hand on his shoulder. We will start with the closest colony. It is small. It has been hidden for centuries. They will not recognize you at first, but your symbol will speak for itself. Ethan nodded. He felt nervous, but also ready. He had never been on a journey like this. The thought of finding other humans, of awakening them, filled him with both fear and purpose. The ship moved faster than he could imagine. In a few days, they reached the first hidden colony. It was a small planet covered in forests and rivers. The humans there lived in villages. Simple and quiet, they had no technology beyond what they needed. The Queen landed the ship far from the villages, so the humans would not see it until they were ready. Ethan and Alira approached the village on foot. Ethan wore the same shirt, with the eagle and star clearly visible. He felt the weight of the symbol. It was strange, but also comforting. It reminded him of who he was and who humans had been. When they entered the village, the humans stopped their work. They stared at Ethan, unsure of what to think. Some whispered to each other. He could see fear in their eyes, but also curiosity. Alira stepped back, giving him space. Ethan raised his hand slowly. I am one of you, he said. I carry the symbol of the Terran Vanguard. You do not need to fear me. A few of the older humans stepped forward. Their eyes widened when they saw the symbol. Some fell to their knees. Others whispered words Ethan did not understand. The symbol spoke for itself. The legend of the Death Worlders was alive. Ethan realized that he did not need to explain much. The symbol carried history, power, and respect. Even after centuries, humans recognized it, and now, seeing him alive, they believed that hope had returned. He spent the next hours walking through the village, speaking quietly with the elders. He learned that this colony had hidden for generations. They had stories of humans who had fought great wars, of ships that had moved faster than light, and of enemies that had once ruled the stars. They had waited for a sign, and Ethan, wearing the symbol, was that sign. Alira watched quietly. She knew that this was the first step. Awakening hope in one colony would lead to others. Humans had spread across space, and finding them would take time. But the spark had begun. Ethan realized that he had to act carefully. He could not force humans to follow him. They had survived by hiding. He had to earn their trust. He spoke with the villagers, listening to their stories, learning their fears. He promised them safety and guidance. Slowly, they began to believe him. By the evening, Ethan stood on a hill overlooking the village. Fires burned in the homes, and humans worked together quietly. He felt a strange sense of pride. He had not done anything yet, but the spark of hope was spreading. The symbol on his shirt had awakened something older than himself. The Queen approached him. They will follow you if they believe. The spark grows slowly, but it will grow. You must travel to other colonies, find more humans, awaken them. They will join you?" Ethan nodded. He felt tired but determined. He realized that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed. Humans had been forgotten. But now they had a chance to rise again. The next morning, Ethan and the Queen prepared to leave the colony. The villagers watched them, some bowing, others holding their hands to their chests. The symbol had reminded them of their past. It had reminded them of courage, strength, and survival. As they departed, Ethan felt the weight of responsibility again. He had to find more humans, awaken hope, and face whatever dangers awaited them in the galaxy. The Queen ship moved through space silently, carrying him toward the next hidden colony. Ethan thought about Earth, the desert planet, and the stars beyond. Humans had survived centuries of war, hiding in secret, and now they were ready to rise. He looked at the symbol on his shirt, the eagle and star. It was simple, but it carried power. It carried history. It carried hope. The journey continued, and Ethan knew that he could not turn back. The spark of humanity had been awakened, and the galaxy would soon see the return of the Death Worlders. He felt fear, hope, and determination all at once. He was no longer just a miner. He was a part of something larger, something that could change the universe. The Queen stood beside him, silent but watchful. Ethan realized that he had an ally, a guide, and a protector. Together, they would awaken humans across the stars, gather the hidden colonies, and remind the galaxy why humans had once been feared and respected. As the ship moved through space, Ethan felt the first taste of what it meant to be part of a legend. The symbol on his shirt had awakened the past, and now it was guiding the future. The galaxy would remember humanity, and he would be at the center of it. The stars stretched endlessly, and Ethan understood that the journey ahead would be long and dangerous. But he also knew that he had begun something important. Humans were waking from their hiding. The spark of the Death Worlders had returned, and with each step, each colony, and each human he awakened, the legend would grow stronger. Ethan looked at the stars again. The galaxy was wide, full of danger, and full of opportunity. He felt a strange calm. He was ready for whatever came next. He was part of a story that had been waiting centuries to be told, and he would see it through.